transparent, man. I feel like can't be myself 100% in front of the camera. It feels weird. I mean, I am being watched. Alrighty. Don't judge me, babe, okay? Good morning, everybody. How's it going? Welcome to the Tabbaa Law Home Office. We're gonna come up today and just take a look at what my day looks like. Join the journey in how we represent our personal injury clients. We'll just head straight down to the office. This is the home office right here, where all the work happens. We do have the office in Midtown, but this is where most of the work takes place. Most of the time, clients don't mind meeting in the area that works best for them. Makes it a little bit convenient for me to be able to get out of the office from here sometimes, meet them wherever they're at, whether that's in Fulton or Gwinnett or DeKalb. Ends up being actually a little bit more of a personalized meetup with clients.
What do we have in store for the day?
We have phone calls with my team, phone calls with clients, just following up on different matters, planning things for the next couple of days, setting a little bit of work out for the weekend, just gotta keep things moving. The first thing is usually for me to call my manager at my office, Carla, just to kind of see if there's a few things that she did at the end of her day and things that I did at the end of my day, where we can kind of task each other things to do. So that's usually how our day starts. But she might have an appointment this morning. I bought a house, had a baby, quit my job, and opened a business all in a 6-month period of time during COVID. I first started in personal injury as like an intern, where I was doing these more administrative level tasks. I thought I would take my legal education and apply it to the Masters of Healthcare Administration that I was getting at the same time. It's a dual program at Georgia State. So I hopped in it my second year, and I was able to finish both degrees in 3 years total. And I found myself in consulting as soon as I graduated from law school. But it was in the consulting job that I was working that I realized this wasn't exactly what I wanted to do. You get the feeling that you're serving numbers and not people. There just wasn't that fulfillment. That wasn't happening in corporate. So I had the previous experience as an intern. I was like, okay, I think I can re-enter this space. Been a while, so I'm a little bit rusty, but hopefully the firm that I join will nurture and allow me to use my potential to grow and get better. So that's when I went back to doing personal injury. I was doing good at the job. I liked it. I had a good team, but the Great Resignation. I always reference this term once I heard about it because I felt like it spoke to me a little bit. They labeled this event halfway through COVID as the Great Resignation. There was this apparent feeling of people in these jobs during that period of time who felt that they had experienced this newfound level of freedom or awakening and realization of, I can maybe do this on my own. You don't need a staff in order to start a law firm. It's not like a doctor's office where if you are a general practitioner, you obviously can't be the secretary and see patients at the same time. You need to have at least a secretary. You might need to have a nurse also to welcome in patients before you're the one to come see them after that. As attorneys, you don't need any of those things in order to start. Really what you need is the experience of having done A through Z, knowing where to get police reports and other public documentation. Interestingly, I was placed in that position myself when I first started in personal injury as like an intern, where I was doing these more administrative level tasks. Unlike a lot of other attorneys who are a little bit more privileged in their internship experience, they might come in as an associate and are already given an intern. So they don't know how to do all of the basic administrative stuff. And so when they do start their business, I've seen a few times these attorneys be a little bit overwhelmed with having to learn where to get a police report from or how to file a claim because there used to be someone in the administrative level position that used to do that. Some attorneys are not focused on the admin stuff, but for me, I was able to do it for a pretty significant amount of time until, of course, the caseload got so big that I don't want to neglect clients. I need to have some assistance in that part. Bought the house in October 2020, had the baby in December 2020, left the job in February 21, and started the business April 21. Was it stress? I was happy as hell to be a father, right? It was one of the best experiences of my life. But at the same time, I like to see myself as the breadwinner. That's always something I want to be for my household. And so when you're in a position where you're so vulnerable because you're trying to start this dream, obviously it's just going to come with a lot of pressure and stress. So I don't want to say I was like super duper stressed. It was just a lot of pressure, and it's just sitting on your mind while you're trying to enjoy the very good things about that list right there, because everything on that list is really good. You left the job that you didn't love, you started your own business, you had a baby, you bought a house. Like, you can obviously draw it in a very, wonderful light, but you can imagine where the pressure comes in to maintain all of that too. Hey man, how you doing? I'm well. What's going on? Sorry I missed your call. How much you thinking? I could probably do 10. What's their expected return date? Yeah, man, but you need it ASAP. Give me to the end of the day, all right? It's somewhere between 5 and 10, but I need to definitely just look at my stuff. I'm just not in front of it right now because obviously I don't want to leave you hanging. I want to help. I don't mind. Of course, I'll see you. Bye. It's a client, but people have hardships. That's what most of the job feels like, to be honest, is carrying the burdens of others on your own shoulders. And so there are times where you feel like you are that person in that moment because it is actually that stressful, right? They bring you a legitimate problem, but you want to help them so hard that it ends up feeling like your problem. And so it kind of drains you in a similar way where at the end of your day, it's as if you carried that problem. So it can be kind of tough sometimes. That was one of those problems, one of those situations where they might need some kind of pre-settlement advance on their case. Yeah, you work with a funding company, you just facilitate it with them. But again, there are a lot of components that will be evaluated by the funding company in order for that person to qualify, right? Because it's not just I was involved in this situation, now I qualify to receive in advance, right? There have to be certain qualifications that they have to meet, limits within certain coverage within the policy in order for it to be viable for them. It's almost like an investment more than anything. Because I've done this so much, I already know what they're gonna say yes and no to. I wanna obviously kind of present it in such a way where they're not as disappointed when I tell them oh yeah, for sure, you can get a loan for that much, when you really can't because of the circumstances, you know what I mean?
Just speak a different language.
Yes, I did speak a different language. I was speaking Arabic. Arabic was my first language. It now feels like my second, but I speak it pretty well. And back when I was living with my parents, we spoke it 50-50. I did take Arabic in college though to get better because I wasn't the most amazing speaker in my teenage years, but taking college enabled me to just get a better understanding of the grammaticals, the vocabulary, stuff like that. Now I get to use it in my business pretty often. Ethnic heritage is Syrian and Lebanese. So father Syrian, mother is Lebanese. Neighboring countries in the Middle East, think Palestine, Egypt, Jerusalem, the Bible, pretty much that whole area is where my family's from. All right, let me take a look at my computer for a little bit. Things just not going your way the first time. Let's see here. Beautiful. I have no idea who this is. This looks like junk mail. It's definitely junk. I sent it to the address that was listed on Google for the doctor's office, but then it got returned. I'm like, all right, man. So I texted the doctor where do you want this sent? I need to pay you. I sent this a long time ago. It's this guy hasn't paid me. It's no, you gave me the wrong address. Oh, no wonder it got sent back. I didn't put the suite number. Oops. Bro, did you want to help everything work out, or you want me to connect you? Hi, Miss. This is attorney Sami Tabbaa here, calling from Tabbaa Law. I wanted to see if we could discuss your wife motor vehicle accident case that I have been working on. We've reached a resolution and I wanted to discuss exactly where we are right now in the case so that we can hopefully reach a resolution with the insurance company if you guys are finding the results to be satisfactory. So just give me a call back when you get a chance, please. My number is 770-370-7881. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bro, do these people want their money or not? Hello. I have this habit from childhood, man, where I somewhat talk to myself.
Did you want to help get everything work out, or you?
But it allows me to hear some of my own thoughts and ideas or even expressions of how I'm feeling at the moment. It's just a thing. I can't get rid of it.
Can I give me his info? I can have that office reach out to him. Okay, good. I can fill this out. Honestly, that would allow me to move a lot faster if I could do that right now. I think I will.
Hey, this is attorney Sami Tabbaa calling from Tabbaa Law, calling about claim number C as in cat. We had sent over a property damage demand over to you all about a week and a half ago or so. So we were hoping to get a status on the evaluation that hopefully you guys would have done by now. Give me a call back when you get a chance, please. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. I mean, this is usually what the administrative assistants are helping with, but from time to time, you take a chance in the morning because adjusters are most likely to be at their desk between like 8 and 10, 8 and 11. You call them afternoon, they're usually not going to be the ones to pick up. Oh.
I wish I reduced by $50 we can get though. Okay. There we go.
Attorney Sami Tabbaa speaking.
Yes, Sami, this is Aftab.
How are you?
Turning your good sense. How are you?
Good. Happy New Year to you as well. Thank you for returning my call. Wanted to give you an update on your wife's case, just so that you're aware. We sent your wife's medical records and bills that she accumulated to the insurance company, and they made an offer to us that I think is actually pretty good based on the level of treatment and injuries. So the insurance company is offering $5,000 in this case. And so what we're hoping to do here is, in order for me to proceed, I will need your wife's permission to grant me the authorization to settle this claim. So I actually emailed it to her 2 days ago. So if she can just go to her email and sign that authorization, I'll be able to move forward. And then from here, I'm going to go to the doctor and I'm going to see if he can reduce his bill a little bit in order for us to get your wife a little bit more in her pocket in this case. Now, the other thing that's happening that's really interesting, that doesn't happen a lot, the person who struck your wife has two coverages, two different insurance policies on his car, and both appear to be accepting responsibility. So I recently just sent the demand to the second insurance company. So there may be a possibility that there's also a payout from there. There might be another settlement that comes as well. Just give me maybe another week. Okay, we'll be in touch. Okay, take care. Okay, bye-bye. Please sign. The client is in control. This is the #1 rule.
That's an ugly one. I already got that. That's pretty bad though. Please convert. Yes. Image. Oh goodness. Don't chill out.
Attorney Sami speaking. I'm still waiting on the other adjuster that you had made reference to last time to get back with me about this. What do you see? Because what we had requested was a copy of the policy in order to review everything that they were stating in their response to our demand. We haven't received it yet. So until we see those documents, we won't be moving forward. We'll follow up once we confirm some of these things. We'll let you know how we'll be doing it, okay? Thanks a lot. Bye-bye. A case that I had referred out to another attorney, there were a lot of complex issues with it, and he is a specialist in that field. So we're concluding that case. There's a few things that I think I can do on my end that can help the client out a little bit more. He's not aware of them because he's doing it all on his own. This is the call. Let me take it. Hey, this won't be too long. I just wanted to go over a couple of things here. See if we can double check on one or two things. You're giving me full authority here to work things to reduce it. So let me do that. I won't touch yours. I just wanted to kind of give you that assurance as well. I don't want to overstep. Sounds good. Thank you. I'm trying to get a reduction for this client at this one medical provider. Sometimes they work automatically. Sometimes they want to see proof. They want to see details so that we're transparent. And so I'm not not transparent, but I'm hoping that the transparency doesn't lead them to be like, why is this guy only giving this much of a discount or asking us for blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? It's a negotiation, right? Trust me, I have a lot of tricks up my sleeve for legitimizing the argument, but at the end of the day, the client has to benefit. And I feel like where we are right now in the client's case, he's not getting the full value to take care of his future medical care, lost wages. All these things have to be compensated for the client. So I'm willing to go a little bit harder for some clients whenever their circumstance was not as fortunate. You know what I mean? I think you can make an argument that like many things in life require that level of skill of haggling because otherwise you don't get the full benefit. I try to make myself as accessible as possible. It's a model that I'm trying to stick to as much as possible. Like obviously I want to grow my firm. I can't speak to what the future looks like, but for right now, I feel like I might be one of the most accessible attorneys. There are a lot of successful attorneys out there, but try to like call them, see if they pick up. They probably won't, but I want to try to be there for those who reach out that actually want to speak to the attorney because they think that I can help them. The business is at a size where it's all here. And of course, like I have this management software that allows me to get information quickly and move through it quickly. But I feel like I still have a pretty good understanding of like every single person's case specifically, and I can differentiate between them and I don't mix them up. Hey Carla, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I have my marketing guy here with me today. Awesome. Let's talk about some stuff real quick. Because here's the thing. I don't want to keep stressing the client. If everything that they're telling us is true, then let's just have her wrap up her claim the way that they initially proposed and not waste her time anymore, right?
That's just crazy if I'm drunk and driving.
So that applies, I think, to BI and punitive property, which is insane. They're not really scared of it. Well, no, sorry, that's bad faith. I'm tripping. Excuse me. The insurance company just needing to pay up because they were drunk, or else they could be hit with a bad faith claim, which is not the same as punitive damages. But the bad faith of them not just like tendering the entire policy will apply, especially on a 25 when the dude like went to get treatment the way that he's been getting it. You know what I mean? Honestly, I feel like it's worth taking a chance on sending it with what we have with the new bill. I think it's worth it. Let's just give it a shot. You know, they come back, they got to give us an offer. I mean, I just followed up with him now, but I don't want to wait anymore. Like if worst case scenario, we end up canceling our request, you know, but let's not delay it. Please make sure that MRIs are gonna be scheduled in the next like week or so.
Perfect.
Okay, cool. We will chat a little bit later. Thank you so much.
No problem.
All right, bye. The work is nonstop, man. I make myself stop at 5 o'clock every day so I can be with the family, but you could stay in this chair all day, you know what I mean? At a certain point, you have to turn it off if you want to like live your life. When I was an employee, I had a lunch break, you know what I mean? I thoroughly enjoyed my lunch break. Now I practice drinking American coffee for the first 6 hours of the day. So I kind of treat it more like a intermittent fast in a way. So I'll have my American coffee, I'll have my water, but honestly the American coffee pretty much suppresses the appetite till about like 1 or 2. Around 2 or 3 is when I'll actually have my first meal. I'll take like a 30-minute break, just eat something. Depending on how busy the day is, I might just miss lunch. That's happened before. So it's like dinner's ready at 5:30. I'm like, perfect. I'm starving, you know? Like this intermittent fast, I do it mainly so I can control my eating habits, man. Because if I could eat 4 meals a day, I'd do it. But I gain weight kind of easily. Brother, 4 or 5 years ago, I was like 50 pounds heavier than what I am right now. Before I had the first one, I was like in the best shape ever. I had a trainer for a year and a half. I was into calisthenics, had a 6-pack. Like I had kind of achieved a very high level of fitness. And then remember that 6-month period? I bought a house, had a baby, quit my job, and opened a business all in a 6-month period of time during COVID. That'll kind of put enough strain on you to where... Hello? Hey Ivan, I'm well, how are you? Okay, yes. So what I would advise is if it's getting to the level of harassment, like it shouldn't just be like a fake cease and desist letter. Let it be a real one sent by the attorney's office. And then if that is not effective enough, then you already know who you're going to for making a filing in the court that says that this person's actually harassing me and that. I'd rather her deal with an actual criminal attorney for that. Someone who's going to do the filing properly and swiftly. Does that make sense? So I will double check that they do it. And then when I have, I will text you the number and name. Give me like 10, 15 minutes max. Good to hearing from you, man. We'll talk soon. All right, bye. Perfect example. This is actually the first guy that used to do my marketing back in the day. We're still good friends. A client of his, she's like being harassed by like a contractor for her business. And so he was seeing if I could help her with the matter. I potentially could. I've been like going away from jobs that are less in the scope of what I focus on, just because these things do take a lot of time, and I'd rather people get like proper representation by the people that advertisively do these things. If you're like a fresh attorney, I think it's irresponsible to make claims about what you can do for a client. Have you even done it before? You can't make that claim unless you've actually done it. So I was like, let me call my guy, see if this is what he can do. Like what I'm feeling right this second is a hot chicken sandwich. But the potato bun will put you to bed. I'll probably just get some chicken tenders from the same place because they taste really good. If you're cool with hot chicken, I think you'll really enjoy this meal. They're a billboard law firm. It depends on how easy his case was. Like maybe his case required a lot of medical bills and injuries that enabled them to make him feel like it's smooth. But if it needs work, they're not the best people to work with, in my opinion. Okay, sounds good. It's a lead call.
Hey, Mustafa, I have phone. He's the guy.
How you doing? It's attorney Sami Tabbaa here. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Alhamdulillah. It's good to hear from you. I'm sorry about your accident. Are you still in the hospital or have you been?
No, I'm moving right now.
I won't take too much of your time. If you don't mind sharing with me just a little bit about what happened, just so I have some context.
But he was the one who was at fault.
My goal here is twofold for every case that I ever work on. Number one is to get you the healthcare to get whole, where you feel like you've been restored in your health. And number two, get the maximum amount of compensation from the insurance company of the at-fault driver. Objective number two cannot be achieved without objective number one. My real interest for you is to make sure that we document the full extent of your injuries by all of the medical facilities that you go to. This is my direct cell phone, so you can be able to talk to me about the case at any time. A rental car and getting set up with that.
And I'm a tall guy, you know, I cannot just have a small car, just a compartment, and I'll have at least a full size or whatever.
No, inshallah, I'll be able to help you just as much, if not better than Montlake. The difference between Montlake or any other large law firm and myself is that I'll be a lot more accessible. It was a pleasure meeting you. Inshallah, we'll be working together.
Inshallah, all right, I'll talk to you guys. Inshallah.
Okay.
All right.
Take care. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Hey. Very nice. That's the thumbs up. It just was a smooth conversation. It's always nice when a friend thinks of you and is like, hey, I have a guy who just got into an accident. I think he might need your help. Let me get you connected. You know what I'm saying? So he facilitated the entire introduction, you know, and so just made it smoother. And, you know, I happen to be Muslim and this guy's Muslim, and he has apparently some kind of like preference for wanting to work with people in our community. There's already some familiarity that we share the same faith and this relatability that ends up always working out in those kind of cases.
Good case. Congrats.
Thank you. Scoville hot chicken. What's the deal? This is gonna be a nice meal, but we're gonna lay low on the carbs so that we can still work after. There we go, jumbo tenders, 3. I'm hungry, very hungry. This is a dope background actually. My phone's just going off, man. I wanna chill. I always have to take like 5 to 10 minute breaks just to kind of like get back in it. Fortunately, not every situation has an amazing end to it, because although it might be the maximum amount possible through the insurance company, it might not be enough. One of my client's sons, a motorcycle accident, the car that caused it failed to yield. So unfortunately, my client's son lost his life. And, you know, as long as this case is still open, I can tell that the client is never really going to begin the path to recovery and emotionally overcoming the loss of her son, right? So unfortunately in that situation, we're going to be getting the full limits of available coverage. But is there anything that can really cover that kind of loss? There's nothing that can really cover that type of loss or make up for it, right? So it sounds like a nice ending where we got the full limits of coverage available. She's like, listen, I have attitude sometimes and I'm sorry, but it's just because I feel like I can't overcome this. As long as it gets talked about and as long as you and I have a relationship, this is just going to keep happening. My client in this state of consistent and constant grief, there's nothing I can say I can do is just try to get this process done as quickly as possible, that we can have a place to retreat to for healing. Whoa, these are freaking huge. Bro. These are some fat tenders, man. I got 3, but I thought I needed 3. Like, who eats 2 tenders, man?
Bruh.
Bro. Dude, this is insane. This is my first time ordering it, so that's why I'm just like shocked. I always get the sandwich, right? Sandwich is delicious, but for lunch, I think it's better. Ooh, it's really hot. Yeah, this is solid chicken. I went through a honeymoon phase. I gained 20 pounds in 5 months of being married. So this 50-pound thing, that was like my fattest. 220 might not sound like a lot, but when you're like 5'9", it's not a optimal weight for someone like that. Because the weight like goes to my shoulders. Yeah, they're like, oh, you've been working out. It doesn't go to my belly. So people couldn't really tell, but I'm just like, you have no idea how flabby this is under here. You know what I mean? You don't know about this spot. Blue Mountain Coffee Roasters across the street from the H Mart on Lawrenceville, Swanee. It's really, really nice. You're gonna like it. I kind of chased her down. I had met her at a cafe through friends, but I had to go somewhere else very quickly, so I just like very briefly met her. But like after that, I was just like trying to meet her without sliding into DMs. Never been my style. I'm over here trying to find another way. One of my friends calls me. He knows that I'm interested in meeting Luna. He's like, yo, are you invited to this girl's Friendsgiving? Nah, man, I didn't get an invite. And I was a little bit surprised because I know her. But I was like, reach out and be like, hey, what you doing on Tuesday? Maybe I'll get like an invitation that way. And she was like, yeah, I'm a little busy, but I'm actually having a Friendsgiving come through. And so I literally pushed myself, pretty rude, but I'm just like, I'm trying to meet this girl. It's putting my manners on the line, just like try to get a meeting with this girl. It failed because she didn't show up. She ended up being out of town. And then my friend was just like, hey, I'll let her know you're interested. She said she's down to meet you. I'm just like, I didn't ask for that, but I mean, if she's down, then let's just make it happen. The chemistry was very much there between us the first time. 10 years and 3 weeks ago, my wife and I went on our first date. We went on our first date ice skating. Where the test really came for us was we met in my first semester of law school. I got 5 more semesters left. I'm not working. I don't have a job. Do you work? Do you make any money? You know what I mean? She's dealing with someone who clearly just hasn't finished his education yet. So she's looking to see, is the potential possible in this person? I think what her family saw in me was that like, okay, this dude at least looks like he's hardworking. I guess we'll just have to pray that he'll have that job whenever he finishes from law school. And thankfully I did. But we're engaged for about 1.5 years, waiting for that point of finishing law school, finding the most appropriate time to get married soon after. She was 21, I was 23. We were both young, but it took, 2 to 3 years from the time that we met before we actually got married. I mean, obviously, technically speaking, like from the first time I saw her, I met her for 5 minutes and like I couldn't resist to text her friend the next day like, yo, who's your friend? You know what I mean? And I've never, ever texted anybody after being like, yo, who's your friend? But I felt like, you know what? I don't know how else to do this. Insurance company, form, doctor, paying him for his services for my clients, and another doctor that I'm paying for his services to my clients. 1 second. All right. Next time you see me though, we might be filming in a BMW. I ordered one last month, so it's like still in like the manufacturing phase. This car, bro, I've had this car since high school. I've had this car since 2008. And I'm very close to hitting 300,000 miles on it. So I'm actually not even getting rid of it when I get the Beamer. Have it as like the hoopty, trips to Walmart, little errand. There's no reason to, man. Like this car has like never given me a problem in my life. And it's like big and it's got all the room you need. So I think I'm gonna keep it forever until the wheels fall off. How you doing? Let me get your cookie butter latte. What you want, man?
Herbal tea.
Yep, we have peppermint or chamomile.
My father is from this city, Damascus, and Lebanon, where my mother is from.
How about your wife?
We're from this area right here, right? Her grandfather is from Palestine, but he moved to Syria and met his wife. So she's got some Lebanese, she's got some Syrian, she's got some Palestinian. My background is a little bit different when it comes to business growing up. Conversations of business were not had in my household. And I didn't realize until I got older that number one, I didn't know a damn thing about it. But number two, my father he's a stroke specialist in a rural town in Northwest Florida. When you're a stroke specialist in Northwest Florida, there's not many like you. There's My dad was getting referrals 50 miles east and 50 miles west of Panama City. My dad's sole form of advertising was like Yellow Pages until like 2018, because he didn't really need to, because like people knew he's good at what he does and it's not like there's another choice. So he didn't have to try to build his business. So I didn't see my parents go through the challenge of like, oh, we need to like have another year of this is our mark. Like that was never the conversation, right? So like half of my job feels like I'm obviously practicing law, serving justice, helping people get compensated for, you know, things that they lost. But on the other end of it, I'm thinking about like, how do I scale? How do I do it in such a way that enables me to like take care of myself, my family, but also grow this business to be like a long-term growing investment, right? So it's actually like really fun in that respect. I have like a long list of like all the cases that I've closed since I've started, and it's just like friend, referral, client. It's just like all coming from my own network that I've built. It's really nice that it's working out that way. No one wants to advertise that they had a client with a wrongful death case and all they got was like the minimum state limits. Nothing to brag about, right? But unfortunately, we're looking at a person who might have caused this, and the person is broke as a joke. They have no assets for us to go after. We look into them and like it's a 75-year-old guy who doesn't work anymore and he doesn't even own his own house. There's nothing that we can really do, meaning it would actually be more financially costly to the client to try to pursue any form of claim against that person beyond whatever available limits there are with the insurance. I'm looking into every single person that harms one of my clients, right? But in the overwhelming majority of cases, they either don't have the coverage that's available for my client and they don't have the assets either to make up for that, or it's someone that may have the assets and got a $500,000 policy with a $2.5 million umbrella on top. So my client will be well compensated with that type of policy being available. From my experience doing this for a long time, about 15% of all drivers on the road right now do not have insurance on their car. So there's 85% of people that do have insurance on their car. That's kind of comforting. But of that 85%, somewhere between 40 and 50% of them have the minimum limits, which is $25,000 per person or $50,000 per accident on their car. That should cover a lot of cases. But there's like the other half of cases where people either suffer permanent injuries or lose the inability to work, where they have these large claims that they have against the other person, but the other person only has minimum coverage. So that's where maybe you've heard this term get thrown around, uninsured motorist coverage.
Oh, yeah.
That's where it comes into play, where you can't depend on other people to have the coverage to protect yourself. So you get uninsured motor coverage to protect yourself in the situations where the person that caused harm to you doesn't have enough coverage. You have additional coverage on top of it that you can tap into. The guy who has a Tesla and owns 6 properties, he probably has an accountant or an agent or an attorney that's gonna be like, hey buddy, like you're doing pretty good there. You might wanna get insurance to protect your assets because you have a lot of them now. You get what I'm trying to say? But the average person, he can't afford to care. And that's completely fine. I've been in the position of only having $25,000 on my car. It's best to at least set yourself up to protect yourself from those people. I had this client who was like driving with her boyfriend, going to an event, and there was like all this traffic that had built up at this intersection. It was stuck for like 5 or 10 minutes. So they're like, what the heck is going on? So they get out of the car because other people had started to walk too. And they go to the intersection, like there's these cars that are like doing donuts and stuff, like in the middle of the parking lot, like drag racing. And so this car like fishtailed, she broke both of her shins, couldn't walk, okay? Rushed to the hospital. I think her bill was like $400,000 between 2 different hospitals. The car that hit her ran off. No one identified the car. They couldn't get the tag, nothing, okay? She had health insurance. And so her health insurance paid for literally all of her hospital bills. The $400,000 just like completely wiped away. Cool thing about uninsured motorist coverage is that it basically goes with you wherever you go, whether or not you're in a car, right? Look at her policy and she had $100,000 in total coverage. So she basically had her attorney's fee and then she got to keep everything else in her pocket, which was like a little bit above like $70,000 that was in her pocket. So it ends up paying off a lot just to have available on your policy. I've accidentally like hit somebody's bumper before, right? It happens and it's going to happen, but if it's going to happen to you at least once in your life, you better make sure that you're protected because there's a decently high chance that that accident can cause an injury that could be permanent. So at least have yourself be protected through your own coverage. Be more proactive than the other person person, the random average guy in America. But usually when I have this conversation with clients, I mean, it's an unfortunate conversation because I want to be able to say like, I'm willing to go all the way for you, buddy. But it really comes down, unfortunately, to economics. There's a form of justice that comes from expediency that the personal injury world provides, because within 3 to 4 months of your treatment, we might be able to get the full amount of coverage from the at-fault driver's policy. Excellent. But is that all you're entitled to? No, it's not. But if we have to go to this person who hit you and go through the process of filing a lawsuit, which can take 2 to 3 years, and then going to get the judgment that we received from the court by going through a garnishment hearing, they're not gonna make him sell his house to pay you. He only has one house. No, they're going to garnish a part of his wages, but it has to be fair, of course, because that person has a family he has to live. So what are you gonna get, like a $250 check from now till the next 72 months, 157 months, until you're fully compensated for the money that you actually deserve? Or should we just take what we're being afforded right now? Which one sounds like justice? Not an easy conversation to have with clients. You might be able to make more money by investing this in the stock market. Or maybe you can afford yourself even more care through purchasing health insurance if you were to utilize that money in a different way, right? So like, I give them different ideas to make them feel a little bit better about the, again, undoubtedly unfortunate circumstance that they're under. But it is what it is, you know what I mean? Yeah, these film days are always exhausting. I thought this one wouldn't be as exhausting because like I wasn't doing as much thinking with like the content, but feeling it. Got like 6 missed calls, bro. I'm just gonna call them back. Not gonna like depend on doing like some substantive work for the day, right? I don't know, we'll see, man. I feel like I'm out of energy. Like I should probably take a nap if I want to work later, but like probably not go. So that's the day of my life. Let me know what you guys like about what you saw. Follow me for more.